What's up guys, welcome back to the channel. My name's Dave and I make content around running, shoe reviews and my life. And today is no different. I've got another shoe review that I'm bringing to your screens. I've got with me here the world record breaking marathon shoe from Nike, the Nike Alphafly 3. And I'm so stoked that I got my hands on these. If you got on well with the Alphafly 1 and maybe thought that the Alphafly 2 was a bit of a brick, then have no fear, the Alphafly 3 is here to restore your faith in Nike.
Push it, watch me work it, I'm perfect. 1, 2, 3,
So this is how Nike describes their all-new Alphafly 3. It's fine-tuned for marathon speed. The Alphafly 3 helps push you beyond what you thought was possible. It's time to leave your personal bests in the dust. This shoe right here was sold out on its worldwide release in minutes. And its re-release in Australia, it was sold out within minutes again. People were lining up for hours on end only to miss out. It was absolute chaos. So how did I get my hands on them? I wasn't lucky enough to get a pair on the initial release or on the Australian release. I was lucky enough that a local run store, the running company, put an Instagram story up saying that they've ended up with 3 extra pairs and these are the sizes. My mate luckily remembered my size.
Thank you, God!
And DM'd them for me and managed to secure me a pair. So I did manage to get these for retail. I've seen them for disgusting prices on Facebook Marketplace and eBay and Depop. Like I'm talking upwards of 650 Australian dollars, which is just ridiculous. So I'm absolutely cheering that I managed to get my hands on these at retail, so 370 Australian dollars. And yeah, I'm so stoked. So what is new about the Alphafly 3? The Alphafly 3 is the lightest Alphafly ever, featuring a slightly wider carbon fiber plate for increased stability, a fully connected ZoomX midsole made for smoother transitions, and they've also got an all-new Atom Knit upper made for multi-directional containment and breathability. Nike love to drop the prototype colorway with little additional details like writing on the side and on the back there. For the official release, they're not going to be releasing the proto colorway. They're actually going to be releasing another colorway called Volt. I always look at shoes that are a bit of a funky color and I always think, yeah, that's not for me, but I know that it's in reality is actually going to be a sick colorway because Nike can do no wrong. And all it's gonna take for me to get FOMO and wanna get it is just seeing somebody cool wearing in it. So in today's review, I'm gonna be answering all of the hard-hitting questions like whether Nike has fixed their narrow arch problem or their irritating arch problem. I'm gonna go through how it feels, the specs, and would I recommend that you guys buy it? So let's start off with some of the specs. So the weight is 218 grams for a US 9. We've got a heel to toe drop of 8 millimeters, and in my opinion, it's true to size. Like I said before guys, it's sporting an Atom Knit upper, which is designed to be comfortable and breathable. It's got the ribbed laces, which I really enjoy in a race shoe, which means once you put this thing on, it's not going anywhere. So for the midsole, which is just a thing of beauty, we've got a full-length carbon plate with a huge fully connected chunk of Nike's ZoomX race foam. We've got 2 4-foot air zoom units that combine with the ZoomX foam to store and return energy and bring it straight back to you. You can actually see that there are gaps underneath the pockets and in through the front there. You can see there's gaps and then it just has the full carbon plate showing. They've basically just tried to minimize as much foam, minimize the weight as much as possible without sacrificing that energy return. And what I think they've also done here is by cutting out the space of the ZoomX underneath and around the air pockets, I think that it allows for the pockets as they compress to actually expand and not be restricted by excess foam that's around the pod. So I think this way they're able to maximize the energy return while also cutting some weight. So for the outsole, Nike has rigorously tested the Alphafly 3 in the Nike Sport Research Lab on all types of foot strikes. The result being a widened footbed and a fully connected midsole. So how was the grip and traction? I had absolutely no worries running on wet roads in this, no slippage. It felt really great around corners. Well, just the other week, I ran in it for the very first time and I filmed my first impressions and how I felt of the shoe. So Dave, take it away.
All right, I'm taking out the Alphafly 3s for the first time. Gone on a nice 8K easy jog. Although my first K I just clocked a 4:15K because they just feel so good. They feel so smooth. Little first impressions, I would say a big improvement on the second iteration. These are poppy, springy. They felt a bit weird at first, but now I've really settled into them and they feel bloody amazing. I don't want to speak too soon, but they could be the best shoe I've ever worn. I'm really impressed. I guess there's a reason why these are the world record breaking shoes. They're definitely living up to the hype so far.
Thanks, Dave. What a great opinion that was. So with that just being an easy run, I really wanted to test this shoe at marathon pace and above. So I took it to the treadmill and I did a bit of a treadmill threshold session. The reason I did it on the treadmill and not outside is because in Brisbane, we've had an unbelievable amount of rain. And there's one thing you don't want to do, it's take out the fresh Proto Alphafly 3s into the rain and get them all dirty. So I opted to go onto the treadmill to get this session done. The session that I did was a 15-minute warm up and cool down, just easy jog. And then I did a 30-minute threshold broken up into 3 lots, 10 minutes. So the first 10 minutes was 350 pace per kilometer. Second 10 minutes was 340, so picking it up, which is closer to my half marathon pace. And then the last 10 minutes was 330, which is around my 5K to 10K pace. So the first thing that I noticed when putting on the shoe and just walking around in it even was the complete lack of irritation on the inside of the arch. And I can confidently say that I had zero irritation while running at the faster paces, slower paces, anytime that I had the shoe on. So I'm so stoked about that, and I'm sure lots of you that are watching right now are too. While running, I was getting what I can only describe as a springboard feeling underfoot. Like I said before, I think it's the gap in the foam allowing those energy pods to just really compress and then just spring energy back at you. Another really great thing to note is that once I finished my treadmill session, I was an absolute sweaty mess, of course, as you are after running on the treadmill for an hour. But when I went to change from the Alphaflys to my recovery slides, I realized that my socks weren't really that sweaty at all, which you probably don't think is a big deal, but I usually get very sweaty feet, especially when I'm running. So I think that's a testament to just really how breathable and comfortable that the upper is. I mean, I was in aircon, but still, the rest of my body was drenched, socks were almost dry. I think that's a pretty good sign. Okay, so let's get into my pros and cons of the Alphafly 3. So the first pro is that it's super lightweight. I think it's only about 15 grams heavier than the Vaporfly 3. It's improved stability and it's got a wider arch. Like, it's super smooth, super comfortable. Like, if there was honestly one word to describe the Alphafly 3, I think it would be smooth. And apparently it's really quite durable. Like, I'm not seeing any wear or tear. I've only worn these maybe 4 times now, but I'm not seeing any wear on the outsole rubber. I mean, I'm getting some obvious discoloring here on the exposed Zoom X, but that's to be expected. And then these pads here, I think they're more just to protect the Zoom X. Like, I don't think those are really going to help you much with grip, but you can see that there's not really any like durability issues there as well. And the upper just still looks absolutely brand new. So So my cons, I was really struggling to actually think of a con for this shoe. That's how much I'm enjoying it. But I racked my brain, and originally I had one con written down, which was that it was hard to get on. But that was just the first time. Once I'd worn it, like even just once I'd worn it the first time, the next time I put it on, it was much easier to put on and it felt much more comfortable. The other con that I could think of was maybe the price point. I mean, it is pretty standard for most like super shoes these days, but I still think that we could benefit from a cheaper Nike super shoe. Even if they released it for the like similar price to the Vaporfly 3, I think I would be really happy with that. And I think a lot of people would be too. So would I recommend that you buy the Alphafly 3? It's a big tick for me, no pun intended, and here's why. I truly believe that this is the best racing shoe that I've ever worn in my life, and running a marathon in these would be honestly such a dream. If you're like me and you've had troubles with the narrow arch in the past, then you have to worry no further. They've definitely improved this enough that it's not something that you will have to worry about any longer. I'm genuinely a fan of the aesthetic that Nike brings to the table, and I have no doubt that this will fit perfectly into your race kits, whether it's the sexy new Proto colorway or the new Vault colorway, which by the way, I think is pretty sick as well. I also watched Ben Johnson's 500-mile review. Yeah, 500 miles. The bloke literally wore the shoes every day for 50 days in a row, and he ran a handful of marathons in it. And I was really interested to see the durability of the shoe. And from what I've seen, or from what I've gathered from that video, it's looking really durable. It's looking really good, guys. I mean, there was a few noticeable spots of wear, just at the front and obviously a little bit on the exposed Zoom X, but honestly, they looked really good after 500 miles. The compression lines in the foam honestly weren't even that bad either. I mean, especially for a race day shoe that usually you only get like 500 Ks out of. I mean, he seems to think that they still have pop and they still felt great. But if you don't agree with that and you know, you get to 500 Ks and you feel like it doesn't quite have that snap that you would really appreciate on race day, of course, you can retire it from race day and still keep it in your shoe rotation as a pretty nifty speed shoe option. So if you're looking to pick yourself up a pair of the Nike Alphafly 3, unfortunately you won't be able to pick up the Proto colorway brand new off the Nike website. They're sold out now and they're not remaking those, but they are releasing the new Vault colorway, which is that blue colorway I spoke about earlier. They are actually dropping those on the Nike website on April 4th. I have a feeling that they will sell out as well. Hopefully they're making more of those than they are of these. But you can secure yourself a pair of those on the Nike website April 4th. So make sure you set that reminder and get onto it. You do not want to miss out on these. And of course, a big shout out to Nike for consistently coming in hot with some of the best looking and best performing, well, arguably the best performing marathon shoes on the market. That concludes my Nike Alphafly 3 full review. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did enjoy, make sure you give this video a like and consider subscribing to the channel so you don't miss any of my future shoe reviews. Thank you so much for watching, guys. I'll see you in the next one. Peace. Oh.